Child rights in India. This is an age-old issue being raised in different forms since time immemorial. Yet, a few recent developments have brought the issue to the fore. The most important of these developments is the newly drafted Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill 2012, passed by the Rajya Sabha on 19 July 2016. Voices are being raised from different quarters on various provisions of the bill. The bill, as passed by Rajya Sabha, allows number 1, a child to help the family after school hours in various forms of work, which may promote invisible form of child labor and exploitation. Number 2, the law criminalizes through section 18 the parents, which is not in the best interest of the child. And number 3, the bill also cuts down the number of hazardous occupations from 83 to 3. Given the developments, we would try to take stock of the conditions of child rights in India as prevalent on the ground, the various statutory provisions, and a brief overview of the newly passed Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill 2012. But before going any further, let us take a stock of the significance that this issue may have from the examination point. Significance. The topic is primarily significant from the point of mains examination. In mains, the topic may get raised as a part of social justice in GS Mains Paper 2 or as part of Indian society in GS Mains Paper 1. However, there is also a probability of the issue getting raised in the form of an essay. Given the wide-ranging appeal of this issue, we would suggest you to take note of the issue seriously. Conditions of child rights as prevailing on the ground. Before we start with the discussion, let us take a stock of a few statistical data. There are 444 million children in India under the age of 18 years. This constitutes 37% of the total population in the country. 1 in 4 children of school-going age is out of school in our country. That is, 99 million children in total have dropped out of school. Out of every 100 children, only 32 children finish their school-age education appropriately. Only 2% of schools offer complete school education from class 1 to class 12. There are 10.13 million child laborers between 5 to 14 years in India. 1 in every 11 children in India is working when they should be at school. India has 33 million working children between the age of 5 to 18 years. In parts of the country, more than half the child population is engaged in labor. Every 8 minutes, a child goes missing in India. Kidnapping and abduction is the largest crime against children in our country. Over the last 10 years, crime against children has increased 5 times over. The fear of failure in examination is the second highest cause of suicide in children. The health indicators of children in India are among the worst in the world. Only around half of the infants in India are fully immunized. More than half the births in the country continue to remain home births. 13,40,000 children below 5 die in a year. That is 3,671 under 5 child deaths per day. Nearly half of all child deaths under 5 in India are attributed to undernutrition. 5 out of 4 children under 3 years of age in the country are anemic. 3 out of 5 children are malnourished. Around 8.5 lakh children are estimated to die before their first birthday each year. Latest National Family Health Survey data show that less than one-third infants receive adequate diet. However, data for only 18 states were available for NFHS 4 at the time of preparing this video. More than half, that is 56% of the under 5 deaths occur during the first 28 days of life. India accounts for more than 3 out of 10 stunted children in the world. 42% of married women in India were married as children. 1 in every 3 child brides in the world is a girl in India. India has more than 4.5 lakh girls under 15 years of age who are married with children. Out of these, 70% of the girls have 2 children. The volume of data and the grim picture that they present speak on their own. As you can see, in India, more than 33 million children in the age group of 0 to 18 years are working. Most of these children are engaged in the unorganized and unregulated sector, making demand and availability of cheap labor an easy proposition. On the other hand, high levels of poverty and unemployment coupled with lack of adequate social security net, compel parents to allow children to work in hazardous occupation. An analysis of census data by a non-governmental organization, CRY, Child Rights and You, revealed that close to 1.4 million child laborers in India in the age group of 7 to 14 years cannot write their own name. This means 1 in 3 child laborers in this age group are illiterate. Even for children who support the family economy by working less than 6 months in a year, data reveals that a shocking 2 million have compromised on their education. We are enumerating the number of issues plaguing this scenario in India at present. These are abuse and violence, child sexual abuse, street children, children living with AIDS, child in armed conflict, girl child marriage, children with disabilities, children affected by substance abuse, birth registration, missing children, children in conflict with law, child labor, child trafficking, children without parental care, child health and nutrition, early childhood, that is, children below 6, children of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes families, children in poverty. However, since these issues require individual attention on their own, and to keep our discussion more focused, we would avoid deliberating on them. Now, given these conditions, let us take note of the statutory provisions that exist to protect child rights in the country. Statutory provisions. To start with the statutory provisions, let us first give a look at the milestone in the international human rights legislation, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, that India ratified in 1992. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, defines child rights as the minimum entitlements and freedoms that should be afforded to every citizen below the age of 18, regardless of race, national origin, color, gender, language, religion, opinions, origin, wealth, birth status, disability, or other characteristics. These rights encompass freedom of children and their civil rights, family environment, necessary health care and welfare, education, leisure, and cultural activities, and special protection measures. The UNCRC outlines the fundamental human rights that should be afforded to the children in 4 broad classifications that suitably cover all civil, political, social, economic, and cultural rights of every child. Right to survival, right to be born, right to minimum standards of food, shelter, and clothing, right to live with dignity, right to health care, to safe drinking water, nutrition, food, a clean and safe environment, and information to help them stay healthy. Right to protection, right to be protected from all sorts of violence, right to be protected from neglect, right to be protected from physical and sexual abuse, right to be protected from dangerous drugs, right to participation, right to freedom of opinion, right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of association, right to freedom of information, right to participate in any decision making that involves him or her directly or indirectly, right to development, right to education, right to learn, right to relax and play, right to all forms of development, emotional, mental, and physical. It is noteworthy that the Constitution, promulgated in 1950, encompasses most rights included in the UNCRC as fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. The constitutional guarantees that are meant specifically for children include right to free and compulsory elementary education for all children in 6 to 14 years age group, Article 21A, right to be protected from any hazardous employment till the age of 14 years, Article 24, right to be protected from being abused and forced by economic necessity to enter occupations unsuited to their age or strength, Article 39E, right to equal opportunity and facility to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom and dignity and guaranteed protection of childhood and the youth against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment, Article 39F, right to early childhood care and education to all children until they complete the age of 6, Article 45. Besides, children also have rights as equal citizens of India, just as any other adult male or female, such as right to equality, Article 14, right against discrimination, Article 15, right to personal liberty and due process of law, Article 21, right of being protected from being trafficked and forced into bonded labor, Article 23, right of minorities for protection of their interests, Article 29, right of weaker section of the people to be protected from the social injustice and all forms of exploitation, Article 46, Right to nutrition and standard of living and improved public health, Article 47. Based on constitutional obligations, the various governments which came to power in India at different points of time have enacted a number of legislations. The latest of which is the Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill 2012, passed in July 2016. These are, in reverse order, the Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill 2012, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Notified Rules 2012, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2006, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Regulation and Prevention of Misuse Amendment Act 2000, Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2000, Information and Technology Act 2000, Persons with Disabilities, Equal Protection of Rights and Full Participation Act 1996, Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994, Infant Milk Substitutes, Feeding Bottles and Infant Foods Regulation of Production, Supply and Distribution Act 1992, Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, Prevention of Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1987, Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, Bonded Labour System Abolition Act 1976, National Policy for Children 1974, Orphanages and Other Charitable Homes Supervision and Control Act 1960, Probation of Offenders Act 1956, Immoral Traffic Prevention Act amended in 1986, originally of 1956, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956, Factories Act of 1948 amended in 1949, 50 and 54. Given the volume of list of statutory provisions, one should admit about impressive effort put by the government at different times. Yet, the data given above betrays the fact of dismal condition that exists on the ground. However, let us now focus on the newly passed bill which has raked up the issue for discussion. The Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill 2012. Basic Features and Analysis. Here, we are presenting before you certain basic information about the bill. These are: the Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Bill 2012 was introduced in Rajya Sabha on December 4, 2012 by the then Minister of Labour and Employment, Mallikarjun Kharge. The bill seeks to amend the Child Labour Prohibition and Protection Act 1986, which prohibits the engagement of children in certain types of occupation and regulates the condition of work of children in other occupations. The Act prohibits employment of children below 14 years in certain occupations such as automobile workshops, beadi making, carpet weaving, handloom and powerloom, industry, mines and domestic work. In light of the Right to Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, the bill seeks to prohibit employment of children below 14 years in all occupations except where the child helps his family after school hours. The bill adds a new category of persons called adolescent. An adolescent means a person between 14 and 18 years of age. The bill prohibits employment of adolescents in hazardous occupation as specified: mines, inflammable substance and hazardous processes. The central government may add or omit any hazardous occupation from the list included in the bill. The bill enhances the punishment for employing any child in an occupation. It also includes penalty for employing an adolescent in a hazardous occupation. The penalty for employing a child was increased to imprisonment between 6 months and 2 years, from 3 months to 1 year, or a fine of rupees 20,000 to 50,000, from rupees 10,000 to 20,000, or both. The penalty for employing an adolescent in hazardous occupation is imprisonment between 6 months and 2 years, or a fine of rupees 20,000 to 50,000, or both. The government may confer powers on a district magistrate to ensure that the provisions of the law are properly carried out. The bill empowers the government to make periodic inspections of places at which employment of children and adolescents are prohibited. Now, as has been mentioned earlier as well, though it bans complete employment of children below the age of 14 years, an exception has been made for children working in family enterprises. This new act is based on the premise that education and work for children can go hand in hand. This argument goes against the spirit of the Right to Free and Compulsory Education, 2009. Allowing children to work in family enterprises is likely to have far-reaching implications for their education and learning outcomes, as well as their health and overall development. These children face issues of inattentiveness, fatigue, and later attendance at school, lack of playtime with peers in and after school. Working children remain at great risk of dropping out of school. The government argues that children working in the family setup will not be in a typical employer-employee relationship. There is enough evidence to contradict this argument. Given the definition of family and family enterprise under the Act, for the purpose of this law, family in relation to a child means his mother, father, brother, sister, and father's sister and brother, and mother's sister and brother. And family enterprise means any work, profession, or business performed by the members of the family with the engagement of other persons. In these definitions actually open up a range of setting for work by the child. Take for instance, families working in brick kilns where children migrate with their families and almost always work with them and are prone to innumerable health hazards. Another example is that of sugarcane industry, where children are found loading and unloading sugarcane from the truck and cleaning the cane. Children are also involved in tasks such as collecting and making bundles of sugarcane for further selling or feeding cattle. These children do not just face hazards related with the occupation, but are also exploited in what clearly becomes an employer-employee relationship. Also, this definition will serve as a loophole for trafficking. In practice, in most cases of trafficking of children, the perpetrator is a close family member or community member. The government has cited the preservation of social fabric and learning of traditional occupations as reason behind allowing children to work in family enterprises. However, there is a threat of occupation being affixed with one's caste, wherein children are bound to their traditional family occupations and not given an opportunity to learn new employable trades as part of their education. With the new legislation, the question remains, how will the government ensure that working children get enough time to sleep, play, and study? And how will the state ensure that the child is working for the family enterprise within the family setup and not abused? Though the government has increased the punishment and penalty for the violators, we still battle poor rates of prosecution and conviction of child labor cases. We have consistently witnessed weak implementation of Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, and the amendment does not incorporate significant measures to improve it. The inadequacy of the resources for implementation shall remain a challenge. Given that India's track record in implementing laws is so poor, how do we ensure the safety of these children? However, at present, all we can do is to keep our fingers crossed and see how the government of the day plans to address these nitty-gritties that are being raised. Thank you.